Let's get you an update now on Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, who's undergone an emergency brain surgery. Sadhguru, in fact, was admitted and hospitalized in the national capital and underwent brain surgery. The doctors at Apollo Hospital, where he is currently being treated, confirmed that he had a life-threatening situation.
So usage of metals is very much prevalent in siddha. I know the Western medicine will immediately brand it as nonsense, but in siddha, all the things that you consider as poisonous are used as a part of their medicine. When I mention the word mercury, mercury is not poisonous, but consumption of mercury is very much a part of the yogic system and very much a part of the siddha vaidya. I am still alive only because of mercury, not otherwise. Yogic system has always used mercury. Mercury and yogis are always together. You cannot… Even you will see, traveling yogis will carry a little bit of mercury with them always. If not in liquid form, in solid form, solidified mercury, people do practices, keeping it in their mouth and doing things and whatever. There are various aspects to it.
Sadhguru has just had a very life-threatening situation. He had headache for the last 4 weeks. The headache was very severe, and the MRI actually showed, that he had massive bleeding in the brain. It was outside the brain and below the bone. There was massive 2-time bleeding.
Brain hemorrhage is a condition in which blood vessels inside the brain burst. This causes bleeding in the brain. The bleeding can occur either in brain tissues or in the protecting covering of the brain. The brain covering is called meninges, which consists of 3 layers. Among these 3 layers, this middle layer is called arachnoid matter. This layer is highly vascular, meaning that large number of blood vessels travel through this layer. That's why sometimes blood vessels in this layer burst, causing blood leakage and accumulation in the affected area. Bleeding occurs whether in brain tissues or arachnoid matter. Both types of bleedings damage brain. If bleeding occurs in brain tissues, the brain cells die due to lack of oxygen in this region. And if bleeding occurs in brain covering, the covering begins to swell due to accumulation of blood. This exerts pressure on brain cells covered by the layer, causing death of brain cells. There can be many causes of bleeding in brain, such as severe injury to head, blood vessels rupture due to high blood pressure, brain tumor, or certain bleeding disorders.
Next day, he had a very important India Today conclave, which with lot of painkillers and sedation, he still attended that, and he, it was such a marvelous interview he gave.
He said 80% of the opioids are being consumed in the United States for 5% of the population. Obviously, a whole lot of people who don't need it. You got little stomachache, you want to take an opioid? I mean, it's going there, I'm saying. For small things, it's being prescribed. Generally, the culture is becoming like this, that adults are being treated like babies, and adults are expecting that they will be treated like babies by the doctors, by the government, by the entire society. This should go. It's time to grow up.
We were surprised, that with so much of pain, so much of painkillers, so much of sedation, he could attend and, complete that meeting.
So, everybody must understand the consequence of pain. You do silly things to yourself, and then somebody will give you an opioid which will keep you lala all the time. Hey, it's not right. I think it's fundamentally wrong.
We were surprised, that with so much of pain, so much of painkillers, so much of sedation, he could attend and, complete that meeting.
But there must be a law that only for certain things you can give it, you can't just simply distribute candies.
17th morning, however, he really got very unwell. He became very drowsy. While talking, he was, just dozing off. He had weakness of the left leg, and we had to rush him to hospital.
If we talk about symptoms of brain hemorrhage, severe pain starts in brain of the affected patient, and vomiting may also occur. Besides, patient feels difficulty in seeing and speaking, alongside imbalanced nerve coordination. If these symptoms show in a patient, he or she should be immediately admitted to the hospital, or else patient's death may occur. For treatment of brain hemorrhage, it is necessary to determine the location of brain hemorrhage in brain and how much damage occurred to the brain.
17th, we admitted him. When we got the CT scan, there was life-threatening swelling in the brain. The brain was shifted to one side, and he had become very dull, very confused, and the left leg had started to get weak. And we had to undergo an emergency surgery on him on 17th itself,
for which doctors order CT scan and RAI. The treatment is started once the location of bleeding and damage by it is identified in the brain. In most cases, surgery is performed to remove bleeding, for which blood clots are drained through incision in a skull bone. If any physical abnormalities remain in a patient after treatment, such as difficulty in walking and speaking, physical and speech therapy is recommended to treat these conditions.
Heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, and lead are a major root cause of a lot of health issues, especially high blood pressure. And the reason is because heavy metals deactivate really important enzymes in our body, which ultimately leads to blood vessel damage and a lot of inflammation.
I am still alive only because of Mercury, not otherwise.
Sadhguruji, I've seen a lot of videos and pictures of you're just riding through the rain, through the heat, through 100 miles, and you're camping, you're in the tents, you're sleeping in the rain. How do you manage to do this, and what drives you to do this?
I'm on Mercury diet, that's why I'm like this.
You're eating mercury with your food?
In a way.
Oh my God.
So.
But today I just wanted to drive home the point that heavy metal toxicity is a really underappreciated cause of high blood pressure.
There can be many causes of bleeding in brain, such as severe injury to head, blood vessels rupture due to high blood pressure.
I am still alive only because of Mercury, not otherwise.
Mercury is a poison. It doesn't matter however way you're going to consume it, it's poison. Don't eat, consume, absorb, drink anything mercury. Don't do it.
I am still alive only because of Mercury, not otherwise.
he had become very dull, very confused, and the left leg had started to get weak. And we had to undergo an emergency surgery on him on 17th itself.
I am still alive only because of Mercury, not otherwise.